Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. Usually we do this a little bit later in the day, especially as the news starts to pop off and we start to see what's going on with the market. But because Bitcoin has hit its all-time high, I think this is appropriate as we take a look at what's going on. So this is actually from CoinGecko. And I like this. I like to see all-time highs because, again, as we talked about many times, retail and a lot of people don't really care about investing during the bear market. They only want to catch the big escalator up as it's going to Valhalla. And of course, that is right now. As we go into all-time highs, different news outlets will start to cover this and we'll start to see more bigger plays. You're going to see stuff like this. So we have an all-time high today, May 21st, roughly 7 minutes ago, at 108,851. Not too shabby. So we're taking a look at this. How is the traditional markets doing? Well, the S&P 500 itself is down slightly, but if we take a look over like 5 days, 1 month, 6 months, okay, got me on that one, 1 year, and of course 5 years, traditional markets are doing actually pretty good after we've gotten a little bit of stability as tariffs have cooled off and we've gotten some reduction in inflation rates, and it's been relatively good. However, with Bitcoin here, I know on this site, CoinGecko, you can take a look at CoinMarketCap, you can take a look at different areas of trading view. But what I see is actually the latest top was 109,468, almost at 110K, which is not too bad. So everybody should be relatively happy. I'm sure if you have been buying Bitcoin at some point in your life, today you are in profit. Congratulations, you did what you're supposed to do. You bought when the price was low. Maybe you bought yesterday at 107,000 and now you're at 109,000. Congratulations, you're up X percentage points. That's pretty much how it works. However, if we're going to take a look at the good side, just remember that if we take a look at just trading volume so far today, it may actually increase. You know, volume itself hasn't been really too stellar. And we can just see over as time has gone on, 120 billion, 84, 53, 119, 182 billion, 127. Today, it's actually kind of on the lower side. As far as like volume, as far as May 20th, actually it's a bit, let's see if I can refresh this. It's not as high as I'd like to see it. Once we get into like the 200 billion, 250 billion trading volume, then the order books aren't as thin. The sells or the buys don't move prices that much. I will tell you, it's looking pretty good. And also, I don't know if anybody realized this, but today, Bitcoin is number 5 on the asset list as far as like with traditional equities and traditional commodities such as gold and silver. Number 5, and it just passed over Amazon at a market cap of 2.13 trillion to Amazon's paltry 2.129 trillion. Of course, that's just sarcasm, but congratulations to all the holders. Now, there's a long way to go before we hit Apple at 3 trillion, Nvidia at 3.2, and Microsoft at 3.3, and gold at 22.173 trillion. Man, that's a lot. But if you look out of it and you think to yourself, and we just talked about this yesterday, how in America, more people own Bitcoin than they own gold. As we start to hear the news about all-time highs coming in, as we hear more news about the macro effects and how things are stabilizing, except for some treasuries, notes and such like that, I think people will start to buy a little bit more. And I think that's the big push. And if we can eat into gold's market cap, I think Bitcoin could definitely reach 150, 175. I'm sticking with my price prediction of Bitcoin somewhere between $5 and 10 million by 2025. So we'll see if I'm right. I'm pretty sure. But again, it's not so much about the rising price. It's actually taking market share away from others. And I think gold is ripe for disruption. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And then because of the price of Bitcoin going up, of course, we have to take a look at the corporations and institutions that we're buying. Metaplanet. Metaplanet is a Tokyo-based company, mostly saturated in hotels, hospitality, service. And they did the MicroStrategy play, which was put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And because of that, they sometimes get attacked because of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And of course, for the stock itself, people try to short it. good luck. This is why I don't short things, because you never know when things are going to pop off. So there's a short squeeze going on Metaplanet right now. That's going to drive the price of the stock up to crazy amounts. And then the question is, well, what happened, Rob? Why is this going up? There's a ton of narratives you can find. Maybe it's macro. Maybe it's something Trump said yesterday or something that he tweeted. Maybe it's something with inflation. I don't know. I really don't. But there are things that we can look at. Tether being one of them. Tether is our treasury for crypto and digital assets. And they just mint things, and not out of thin air. I'm not saying that's what it is. They actually back these up with real world assets and dollars and notes and treasuries. But they just minted another $2 billion an hour ago. And Look On Chain says, will this drive Bitcoin's price up? Well, it probably didn't hurt it. I will say that. Tether minted a total of $15.7 billion in 2025. And the majority is on Tron. We covered this yesterday. That's why I'm a believer in Tron. I know people will say that's crazy because it has Justin Sun. Hey, Justin Sun's still around. I don't see Sam Bankman-Fried anywhere, do you? And Ethereum. And then, of course, it talks about just how much that is. And we can see right here that, yes, quite a bit of a fund. And it is interesting now that I'm taking a look at this picture. It seems like when we have like a little bit of a, usually, not every time, there's always caveats. When we have a lot of minting of Tether or so, a little bit of a price bump. Goes down, comes here, not so much here. Price bump here, goes all the way down. At this point, what is this? Oh, in February. And of course, it has a 1 billion, then another billion. Seems like that's where you get the most traction when you have around 2 billion. Then boom, nice little candle. Back up and down. And of course, it's not doing too much, then they mint some more. So that's what's going on and possible reasons why. And of course, I will let all the other YouTubers and people come out and speculate as to why it's an all-time high today and it wasn't yesterday. But there's one thing that I can guarantee you is people will sell. I know it's crazy to think about, but I need everybody to understand this. And that is that there are some people that just don't have a long-term view and they like to trade it for short-term, or they like to do a moderate time frame and sell. And that's their God-given right. Let them sell if they want to. I'm not here to tell anybody like, you got to hold on it for dear life and never absolutely sell. And I want you to be homeless and sleep on your Ledger device and never sell that Bitcoin. Maybe transfer it to your kids so they can blow it and you have a miserable life of working 9 to 9, 12-hour days, Monday through Sunday, and never get a vacation and just have a miserable existence. Okay, I went a little bit too far here, but you know what I mean. So this was from a guy over at Coin Bureau. 11.6 billion in profit in Bitcoin profits in just 30 days. So again, not everybody has the same view as you, and that's what makes the world go round. Short-term holders cashed out big while Bitcoin traded between 85 and 105K, one of the biggest realized profit spikes in months. They did what they were supposed to do. They likely bought during the 70K to 75K range. They bought the dip and they sold the pump. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, go for it. A lot of people are doing it. So when you're asking like, who the hell's selling? Everything's going to go to the moon. There's always somebody that likes to sell. And that's really what it comes down to. And lastly, before we get into Q&A, I want to warn everybody about not doing their research and watching and learning and reading as much as you possibly can, because you might get duped into stuff like this. This is Robert Kiyosaki. I actually like Robert. I loved all his books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, great stuff. But he kind of goes on the deep end sometimes about like, there's a crash coming, there's a crash coming, there's a crash coming. And he says it for like the last 10 years, and then, you get right one time. But this stuff, the end is near. What if he threw a party and no one showed up? That's what happened yesterday. The Fed held an auction for U.S. bonds and no one showed up. So the Fed quietly bought $50 billion of its own fake money with fake money. And it's done that in the past. That's true. The party is over. Hyperinflation is here. Millions young and old to be wiped out financially. Good news. Gold will go to 25,000, silver to 70, Bitcoin to 500K to 1 million. The big print, the title of Larry Lepard's latest book is on. Please read it. The end I've been warning about is here. May God have mercy on our souls. I got to tell you, very compelling argument. But because of AI, someone asked, is this true? And Grok says there's no evidence to support the claim the U.S. bond market went no bid on May 20th. Treasury auctions for bills selling that date held on May 14th and 15th showed strong demand, with a bid to cover ratio of 3.28 for a 119-day bill. No record exists of the Fed buying 50 billion bonds that day, and fake money is not a technical term. It is a pretty funny term, though, so let's be honest, Grok. Anyhow, I just want to point that out. Do as much research as you possibly can. There's always different flips to the same story. Just be careful out there. But I got to tell you, it's a pretty damn good day. I'm very happy, and I'm happy for you that you stuck around and did the hard stuff, because not many people can do what you did. You realize that, right? You know, when everybody's making fun of you for investing into crypto and digital assets, they're like, why are you throwing sand in the ocean? You're stupid. Who's stupid now? Anyhow, that's it for today. Like today's video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Now let's get into a little Q&A, and I'll answer any questions to the best of my abilities, and we'll go from there. Did you buy a new pool with your profits? No, but I bought a new green screen, and you gotta love that. I also got this, look at this. Hold on, where'd it go? I got this dog with the profits. That's a great dog right there. Does nothing. This is what you want to be. This is what freedom looks like. Stuff like that. Anyhow. Ooh, this is good. Hey, Rob, Putin is using Tron, Tether, and Bitcoin to sell oil and gas. That's why we've been up and down prices. Makes sense. Also, watch the video from yesterday. I don't understand transactions in the EU and Southeast Asia, across even China and Russia. I just don't understand. I mean, I kind of get it, but I'm an American. I don't live over there. So when everybody's using Tron for the rails for Tether, I'm like, why? And it's because there's so many damn pairs for Tron. That's one, of course, if you want to be a trader in crypto. And the second one is if you're in a place where like there's a deflation of your currency, whatever that is, and you want to actually pay somebody and they accept stable coins, and it's usually Tether, Tron is like the number one that's offered globally. Now, of course, people will say, well, what about Ethereum? And what about USDC? Got it. There's other countries, another place for that, and they can use it all over the place. But I think with what's happening here is that Tron is being used in so many places. Justin Sun buddied up with Tether a long time ago, and they are the lion's share right now. And they have taken over Ethereum as far as the lion's share of the rail that is being used on Tether globally. We talked about it yesterday. I gave you the links so you could take a look at those specific on-chain analysis sites, and you make your own decision. Maybe it comes up to what I came up with. Maybe it's different. Watch yesterday's video. Let's see. Dog is probably tired from being on the beach. Usually that's what she does. Yeah. Love the new room color. Oh, my wife's gonna love that. Yeah, she did a great job. Let's see. Hope everyone took their profits on Bitcoin 3 months ago, like everyone on YouTube was saying. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I mean, my friend Wes over at Smart Money Tracking, I mean, he took profits like a long time ago when we were not at the peak, but close to it. And he's just been reinvesting this whole time. So like, it just depends, you know, what it is. People would say, you got to take it here, you got to take it there. I'm not telling you when to take it. I'm just telling you that at some point you should be taking profits, especially on altcoins. And that's just what I would recommend to myself, I guess. I can't give financial advice. What am I talking about? But a lot of these altcoins don't really do much, and they're not going to make it. And I'm convinced of that. Wait, it's not actually a green screen? No, it's a dynamic green screen. And very expensive over at Fiverr when you do that. When will Fartcoin flip gold market cap? When it sharts itself. We'll see. That's right. That's right, Robert. Still not selling any Bitcoin. Sounds good. Mandatory myocarditis. That's pretty funny. Love that dog. Is WIF the name of the dog? No. Rob, what's the best place to get non-KYC Bitcoin? I have no idea. Honestly. Every exchange has your information. And as far as like non-KYC, I remember Andreas Antonopoulos had a pretty good story about when he first got into Bitcoin, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And he bought a vehicle from somebody who accepted Bitcoin. And he was like, oh, okay. So he met the person. He looked at the vehicle. Okay. Made sure the title was free and clear. And sent the Bitcoin. They said they went across the way, had some coffee, Waited 10 minutes, verified the transaction, off he went. I think that'd be probably the only way that you can do it. Wouldn't that be interesting, right? But then you got to figure, I mean, that's how you would get it, goods and services. And then you can keep it in any wallet that you want to, right? You could have a TANGEM wallet, you could have a ledger, you could have, I mean, heck, anything. And then, of course, the only question is like, if you sold it at that point, yes, or if some other type of service comes out or you want to use Bitcoin to pay your rent or to buy another vehicle, that'd be the way to do it. Interesting. I like the dog. Yeah, she's great. Let's see. What did I miss? Take some profits. Not all. That's a good way. That's, yeah, good way to say it. Pump then dump. I saw somebody in the comments, they said, yes, all-time highs, and then back down to 20K as it was, as the prophecy was foretold. I mean, maybe. That's just it. You never know. You never know. So, oh, hey, look at this. So we're at 108,934. I bet if I refresh this, I don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, it's still above. Very nice. So yeah, 109K is the standard. Let's see how that works out. Actually, I guess the question is, well, how are the, I didn't even talk about alts. I was so excited. So let's see. And see, look at this market cap, 3.532. That's the market cap. And that's another thing. The market cap was at 3.9 at one, yeah, maybe even higher. No? It was at 3.9 trillion on December 16th, 2024. That's when a lot of money was sloshing around, right? And at that point, what was Bitcoin's price at that point? Huh. $100,000? December 16th, 2024, 3.9 trillion. And December 16th, $106,000. That was the peak. And that was, of course, actually, I don't think that was the right. Yeah, that was the top. So that's another thing to worry about. The market cap, actually, I don't think it's really that much to worry about. Maybe it's just, if you think about it, maybe it's just people transferring, going, you know what, I give up on meme coins. You know what, I'm giving up on this junk altcoin. I'm just going into Bitcoin. I think the longer that people are around, the more they become Bitcoin maximalists. Maybe that's the thing. Tell me where I'm off there. When alt season? It's a good question. The world may never know. Hopefully at some point. Check the Bitcoin price. No, got it. The entire altcoin market is at bear market lows. What profits? Yeah, that's just it. I'm telling you, I think we have to start to take a look at the darlings of the cycle. Darlings of the cycle are probably Hyperliquid and SUI. SUI, whatever. So look at that. That's nice. Over at CoinGo Live, you can see the percent price drop since the all-time high. All-time high, May 21st. ETH's all-time high, 2021. XRP's all-time high, 2018. BNB's all-time high, 2024. Pretty close. Solana, 4 months ago. Doge, 4 years ago. Cardano, 3 years ago. Tron, only 5 months ago. Just saying. Just saying. Let's see what else. SUI was only 4 months ago. Just saying. 4, 3. Jesus. Stellar's all-time high was 7 years ago. And then Hyperliquid 4 months ago. Then you go to 3, 5, Leo token 2 months. Nobody talks about that. Not even me. Bitcoin Cash 7 years ago. Still somehow ranked 22nd. Toncoin. Ugh. An underachiever. 11 months, 4 years, 3 years. Yeah. So yeah. BitGet token, 4 months. So we can just see that altcoins are not, keeping pace, definitely. That's a good point. Dynamic green screen, dynamic DCA. Yeah. DAD, that's it. I needed 10,000 for living expenses when my house sells. I will reinvest on the dip again. Sounds like a plan. But like I remember I remember 2017 being there and going, yeah, damn, can't believe Bitcoin's $8,500. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't believe Ethereum is like $380. It seems kind of pricey because, Ethereum used to be like $25, 35. And then Bitcoin was just $1,000 not too long ago. Again, 2017. So I was very hesitant to buy a bunch, but I eventually did and did okay. Then I learned my lesson when everything crashed. But it's the same thing here now. Right now it's a little bit more difficult to look ahead. But that's why we wait for bear markets. If you want to start investing like heavy, I don't know if this is the time. But I do like, SUI and Hyperliquid, wherever the heck you can buy that stuff at. I mean, SUI, I can buy it on, well, not so much Coinbase anymore. But yeah, Blowfin is good. How is Tomato Coin doing? It's a disaster. Just a disaster. We pretty much raise it as like a good meme coin on Cardano. Didn't sell any, and of course everybody just dumped on us. So congratulations for all you who dumped on me. I will get you back in the next bull market. Can you play that Billie Jean post? Now is a good one, right? The Billie Jean post, just follow me on X and you'll see what he's talking about. So Solstice project. My mother didn't give me money to buy her more Bitcoin at below 90K. Now she has to deal with the higher prices. Yes, I got my mom to finally accept it. Good enough. Marty says, Rob, you gonna jump in the pool again when we hit 200K? Don't hold your nose though. I got hold my nose. I don't want a bunch of green screen water in my nose. No, I will not be jumping again. That was a one-time thing. Well, that's not true. When Bitcoin hits 1 million, I'll jump in. Banana hammock and all. Let's see. There are some peer-to-peer sites you can still use. Oxalence. New all-time high USD on Europe. No. Prepaid debit card. Yeah, sure. They accept it. Alts ruin me. I die poor. Depends on the alts, right? I mean, wasn't SUI like just about 8 months ago below $1? And wasn't Solana like, I don't know, over a year ago, like $35, $45? I mean, even Cardano was like 45 cents. Now it's double that at least. Now this is one of the things we need to watch out for. The Jim Cramer factor. Ron says it right. I'm a bit worried. Jim Cramer suggested Bitcoin to hedge against excessive government borrowing. He is right on that regard. But anything Jim touches, watch out. I need to orange pill anyone who will listen every chance I get. You're doing the Lord's work, meme. Good job. I just don't do it anymore. I don't even try to convince people. Like my brothers, I'm just like done. Like I say, I'm like a lazy outfielder. Like if there's a pop fly, I'll catch it, but I'm not diving for the ball anymore. You want to learn about it, do your own research. Good question. LAX guy. Bitcoin, Sol, MicroStrategy, NVIDIA, Tesla. Solid place. Appreciate your knowledge. Thank you. Here for the Dan. Close enough. Alts are lagging big time. Daniel is correct. Plant those seeds. That's good. Wait, this really has changed this time. Yeah. How do you remain so calm? I like it here. It's because I've been around forever, man. And I'm old. And I took profits along the way. Not just here, but last cycle. And there's just one rule I live by, which is the guy with the least worries at the end of the day is the winner. And that's pretty much it. So I don't really get too overly exuberant about something, even if it's positive or negative. And it's good stuff, but I will remind everybody, to me, Bitcoin represents freedom. It's freedom to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it without having to tell anybody what you're doing. essentially. And that really comes down to, like, if you have to work for a living, right? Some people love what they do, right? There are doctors, there are lawyers, there are engineers, there are people, builders. They love what they do. And even if you gave them $1 billion, they would still work. Probably not as much as they do right now, but they would probably still work a little bit. But there's a lot of people that I meet that despise their job or just kind of indifferent to it. And they'd really like to spend more time with their family, do things to enrich their lives, those types of things. And I think once you get to that point in life, which it's going to happen at some point, I mean, hopefully, do the right things, that's the big win. And that's what these things represent to me. And once you have that, first of all, it's really easy to, you feel gratitude because you're like, wow, this is awesome. Do whatever I want to. Like, I retired like 10 years ago. And it just feels good. So I'd like everybody to feel that way. I'd also like everybody to, or as many people as I can, to move to Puerto Rico, the greatest place on the planet. I mean, for what you're looking for. And that only comes if you take some profits. Damn it. That's it. Hope this bull run lasts beyond the summer. Anyone leveraging their house to buy more Bitcoin? Just curious. Candace. Oh, good news. I got Simon Dixon to come back on the channel. I want him to talk about Bitcoin loans and why they are a disaster waiting to happen. So wait for that one. Anything new on Minutes Network and World Mobile from your perspective? I just saw, if you don't know what Minutes Network and World Mobile is, first of all, just do a search, Digital Asset News, World Mobile, or Minutes. They just gave out a stat, which is crazy. Minutes Network has 83.75% of all their tokens staked. And they just launched like a month and a half ago. That's amazing, 83.75%. So what I got to do is I got to show you how to stake it. It's very simple, actually. And it's essentially liquid staking. And Minutes Network is its own project. And it's multi-chain, uses Cardano, uses Ethereum, got the other ones, BNB, I believe. And I think it's going to be good, especially with the partnerships that I can't tell anybody. But yeah, it's doing good. World Mobile, I haven't talked to Mickey in a while, so I need to get him back on the show. But it seems like there's a little lag going on there. But it is, as far as like a native token for our built on Cardano, doing quite well. We need people to start shorting this market and get wrecked so it can go higher. You got to wipe out the shorts, right? Big spender, $5 for green screen makeover. Exactly. You just go to Fiverr and go, I want this thing to look like, make it lighter. That's it. If we get to 110, the shorts will go poof. Very true. Kebab on me. Hit the like. Let's go. Third time. Salesperson. Payday is Thursday and Friday. That's true, actually. So if we see that people get paid, what are they going to do? They're going to put it into gold or whatever? No, they'll probably put it in Bitcoin. Jump in the pool for all time? No. Rob said Sui. Sui or Sui, however you say it. More you know. Just bought some Bitcoin. My contribution about 12K. Fetch? Yeah, good stuff. Why do people think you have a green screen? Because I keep saying it's a green screen. I don't tell people the truth. Do you guys know why I say it's a green screen? Because every time I say it's real, then people are like, oh, you got to prove it. And I kept throwing stuff on my pool, and then I had to go in the pool and retrieve it. So I'm like, just whatever. Bullish on Caspa. When are you going to get your friend Gary Gensler back on the show? No. Although, if Gary came back and he was a big proponent of Bitcoin, and well, actually, he always has been, just crypto in general, would everybody accept him? Or they're like, you almost screwed us. Rob has great hair. Debatable, some days. You know who's got a great hair? Nick and Guy from Coin Bureau. Great head of hair, both those guys. FTX money is coming this weekend. Rob, do you own BNB? Yes, because I have to transact in it sometimes. So you have to own BNB. Oh, I didn't know that. Dog is even listed on Kraken. Finally. It's amazing. Walk the walk. Rob was having the tomato coin, the airdrop. We did it already. Everybody should have gotten their tomato coins. How long before Hoskins is at jail cell? I don't know what's going on with that. I don't have the information. I'm just going to stay away from that. That is a hot topic. And if you don't know what it is, something about Genesis tokens and taking Cardano, and Charles already says that they've done an audit and he passed. I don't know. Vegas is going to be wild. It's going to be fun. You know, Vegas is Vegas. Good times. Do you think the Genius Act will pass? I think it has to go through the House, first of all, because it already passed the Senate. Now it has to go to the House, and they have their own bill, which they have to either combine or separate from the Genius Act to get it to go through. But it should. I think we just need a simple majority, which should get it. We'll see. Retro is very happy today. Awesome. Yep. I'm long on Guy's hair. Yeah. The pool looks unused. It's because you gotta, brush it up. And then it's 30 minutes, so we gotta get out of here. Well, first of all, is an investigation or a rumor? I think it's a rumor that turned into investigation, which I think he passed. I don't know what's going on. I don't know enough. And I'm sure other people wiser than me will cover that, but I have no idea. And lastly, before we get out of here, fiat money will collapse. And as a reminder, this is the big thing of why we own assets, right? Whatever those assets are. If you like the hardest asset out there, the best, I think, Bitcoin, you own that, or you own gold and silver. I do the same thing. Or you own real estate. I got some of that. Or you are into traditional equities or stocks, whatever it is. Just remember that's what will lead to that freedom that we talked about, as long as you invest appropriately. Money itself will always be a melting ice cube. It's just there to make payments and to pay things. But assets and owning of assets for a long period of time is really what will bring you that freedom and peace of mind. And that's it for today. So look, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. There probably will be no late night streams. We just did this one. Also, I got to volunteer some time at the shelter, so I'll be over there tonight. But that's it for today. Thanks much, everybody. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios.